All right. Well, thanks for the opportunity to come and talk to you. And it was a great discussion a couple of days ago, just with the team and the working session that we did. It's been a great partnership so far.
Thank you, and thanks for coming. We are excited to see you.
Thank you, Sagar. So maybe just to start, it would be great if you could walk a bit through your background. So just kind of your journey in AI. I know you have an AI background as well, and kind of how it all connects today to FlexiVan, and then we can have a bit of a discussion around it.
Sure. It's very interesting that I did my master's in AI 30 years back. At the time, it's still a science. AI was like a science. We were doing a small projects like identifying the signature, right? That used to be a big project at the time. But it has been evolved. I'm very, very excited to see the progress in AI today. So FlexiVan has been there for 70 years, right? Our founders, Ron Widows and Than Seeds, started a company called American Intermodal Management. So when you see the supply chain is a very interesting area. Yeah. 10 years back, there's a big problem about the visibility. Yeah. Because where the asset is, from a port until the warehouse, we don't have any visibility, right? Once a ship arrives at the port.
And that was back
10 years back, right?
Oh, 10 years.
So I think that's a time our founders, Ron and Than, started this company to come up to solve the problem. Build a visibility platform using a smart chassis. So smart chassis, as you know, chassis is an equipment that carries the container from a port to the warehouse.
Yeah.
So smart chassis is a chassis with all the IoT sensor devices. So having a GPS, having a sensors to know the state of the object, whether it is mounted or dismounted, and weight sensor, whether the container is empty or laden. So all these sensors enabled smart chassis. That's how the company actually started.
But that was not in the 50s, right? That's not the 70 years ago. That's
exactly.
10 years.
We just started at 2016, right? Yeah. That's where, because the visibility is a big problem at the time, even now to some extent. So we solved the problem having the smart chassis. It is not only providing the last mile visibility from a port to warehouse. When it's going to come, it's going to provide the estimate of when it's going to arrive at the warehouse, but also gives us an inventory, real-time inventory. Yeah. So we build the network insights and we provide to the customers. Having a smart chassis, providing a visibility is not only internal purpose, but also providing the network insights to the customers.
So that's a very interesting point. Your customers are trucking companies, right?
The trucking companies, they're all like BCOs, like all the big customers.
Yeah, and so what kind of visibility are they looking for from the chassis? What kind of analytics or?
So it's very interesting in supply chain, right? The velocity is very important.
Yeah.
A container is coming to the port and warehouse. In between, it might stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
If they don't know that these are the assets that are stuck somewhere, the visibility, right. No visibility, no productivity, right? It impacts the whole velocity. But once we have visibility, they can take actions based on that one. Yeah. So having a visibility is very important.
So for the trucking companies, you're actually covering a gap that they have overall. So it's not specifically about the chassis for them.
Correct.
Because they have the truck and the chassis and the container.
Yes.
But the chassis is the only smart part.
That's correct. Okay. So it's very interesting. The founders use the sensors on the chassis because chassis is always within US. Mm-hmm. But the container moves globally.
Right.
And the container sits on the chassis all the time from the port to the warehouse until back to the warehouse.
Yeah.
So that's where we provide the tracking of the container and we know what is there in the container. So we can actually provide the visibility of the cargo within the container to the customers. Okay. One of the challenges also, think about these are objects, right? They are limited. If it takes longer time, then the whole supply chain is get impacted.
Right.
But if you make it faster, so supply chain can be faster. So that's where we play a very critical role, providing that visibility, the overall their network insights too.
And the forecasting becomes important as well, right? And that's what we've been working on.
Exactly. Yeah. So the question is, okay, now we solve the problem of visibility, right? Then later, the state is very important too, because as I told, that we know container is placed on a chassis, but we need to know what container exactly placed on a chassis.
Right.
So as you know, in the supply chain industry, like a human being recording the gate in and exit, but human always prone to errors, so the data is not accurate. So even 2% of data not accurate, it causes a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So that is where we started actually AI vision, because how do we get the actual container ID sitting on top of the chassis? So we started having the cameras at the ports and the warehouses. Yeah. Then we started the AI vision models to derive what container ID and what chassis and even the truck ID based on the license plate, identifying and marrying all these three objects and providing the supply chain visibility.
So I know you were one of the, probably maybe even the first or the only one. Would love to kind of get your perspective. You were using YOLO, right? So
yes.
Computer vision models in the check-in, in the gates of the lots where the
warehouses and all. Yeah.
And so I have a few questions on that actually, even before we get to AI and Agentic and our work together. So that's fascinating because it's an industry that's very traditional, very kind of non-technology focused. That's a very simple, conceptually it's a simple idea, but implementing it well is hard because it has to work really well.
That's correct.
And so I have a couple of questions. First is, how did you make it work? I mean, using the right vision models, of course, but there's more to it than that. Yeah. And the second question is, what was the impact? So what is the impact on the arrivals, departures, the forecasting, the operational costs? Because I think a lot of folks, especially in logistics, are trying to get AI into production with the impact and the ROI being very elusive. It's very hard to kind of get to it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So it's not the technology all the time, right? Even though we talk about AI vision model can be great. Mm-hmm. But if the sensors capturing the data, if you don't have it, vision doesn't provide enough information. Yes. So that is where actually we had challenges. When we tried to put cameras at the warehouses, the angle is very important because when a container is placed on a chassis, getting a chassis ID, the angle of putting the cameras, capturing that one during the daytime and nighttime. So we had challenges, right? Mm-hmm. So always when we start with something experimental, slowly, contained mode, and then we mature it, then we scale it. Yeah. So that's how our journey actually took a couple of years to achieve that model.
And so now it's fully autonomous, right? I think
you can replicate it, right? Yeah. Once we have the model, once we have the solution, it's easy to replicate. I think that during that journey only, I actually very fortunate to see you in 2024. We talked about it because during that journey, just we were thinking about a predictive logistics. Yeah. Because vision provided the state, what container ID is on the top of the chassis. But it's very important the supply chain is the predictive logistics because we need to know, we have to be more proactive than reactive, right? If we can predict what is going to come, what is going to be disruptions, or even the internal velocity of the chassis or the container, even for our own depots, we manage the yard. We need to know how many chassis actually coming on the day, how many chassis we're going to pick up because space management is a bigger issue. Yeah. So during that journey, actually we are very fortunate to meet you in 2024. That is where we started our predictive journey with you.
And the predictive So predictive analytics is actually not related to the computer vision.
Yes, that's a different.
It's inventory management, kind of arrivals, departures,
That's correct.
operations. Yeah.
That's good, because providing the availability of the chassis to the customer is very important.
Yeah.
For example, the customer, all the containers are arriving at the port. But if you don't have a chassis, container cannot move.
Right.
Container cannot move without a chassis because container doesn't have wheels.
Right.
So having the chassis availability for that customer at that port is very important.
Yeah.
So we need to predict the customer cargo arrivals. Based on that, predict how many chassis are required.
Mm-hmm.
To predict the chassis are required, we need to know the velocity.
Yeah.
Right? We need to know the customer warehouses, how much time the customer is taking to remove the cargo from the container, then return that empty. So identifying this container trip time is very important.
Right. And it's useful both to you and to the customer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Changing gears a little bit, and I don't know how much of this you want to share, so feel free to not share. I know you build a lot in-house,
yes.
Right? And, we've discussed some of the tools you've built in-house, but I think just the depth to which the FlexiVan team builds in-house is I would say it's unusual in the industry. A lot of people would prefer to kind of leverage existing components when those are easy to leverage. You've made some really, I would say, interesting choices, which I'm very excited about around building in-house. So would love to, it's whatever you're kind of comfortable sharing about it's.
I think because of my passion on AI, at the same time, great guidance from Tan and Ron. They're very tech savvy, right? So we always start with experimentation, right? Because it's not about technology. Okay, let's identify the use case for the technology. It's more of what's a problem statement, then see what is the right technology for that problem. So interestingly, when we start our journey, we solve the problem of visibility at the time, especially in the chassis industry. Maybe we are the first one who come up with those concepts 10 years back. Then when we are migrating to predictive logistics, it's not an easy journey because AI is not that matured 10 years back, right? Now it's so fast that it's evolving. Every day we see a lot of products. But 10 years back, it's still like a predictive algorithms, implementing that in-house. We don't have the platform ready.
Right.
So actually we have to build it. We build it. If we build the same thing now, it will happen faster.
Right, of course.
Right, because so much of now technology evolving, a lot of platforms available.
Right.
But at that time, we actually are fortunate to have a good team. We call like an innovation team.
Yeah.
We actually spend from 4 to onwards, evening 4. So all our work done until 4. After 4 onwards, we just work on innovation projects only. It started as a pet project, but actually it's evolved as our core operational model.
That's great. It's kind of like for Google, Gmail started as a 20% side project.
Yes.
Right? And I know, the folks listening to this would know about the innovation table.
Yes.
But that's one of the fun parts here at the office, FlexiVan. Was the innovation table there at that point or not yet?
So we have innovation room.
Yeah.
It is my office room with all the whiteboards. Now we have innovation table. Anyone has an idea, we just assemble it, and we have a solution right there. It's very free form.
It's great, and it's a very exciting team to be around, and has a lot of great ideas. I do want to start kind of getting into the AI topic, but just one more topic, maybe kind of a related bridge topic. You've built a lot of software in-house. With all the vibe coding tools and the kind of the coding agents, you can build a lot of software from scratch, as you said, very quickly, catch up to everything. And that's true for everyone, right? So you can do it, the guy across the street can do it, everyone. I have this kind of thought I want to get your feedback on, or whether you agree with it. Mm-hmm. As code becomes more commoditized, so it becomes easier to produce code, the long-term asset is really more of the robust specification. So the specs, the requirements, what is a successful implementation, where the corner cases need to be handled, the schemas. So that those documents that define what the software should be is becoming more of the long-term software asset, whereas code can be regenerated 50 times in a month and made better every time. Of course, it costs money, but the iteration can be completely throw away the old code, create new one. It just has to do the right thing. I'm curious what you think about this.
No, that's very important. I strongly believe in build what differentiates you, buy what accelerates you, right?
That's a great way to say it. Yeah.
Thank you. Because the real differentiation should be inside, right? Because how do we differentiate ourselves with our competitors? So that's what we have to build. Once we build, platforms like a Shakudo can help us to accelerate it, can help us to repeatable, right? We can scale it easily.
I agree. And so is that internal differentiation, how do you capture it? Because if it's not code anymore, I mean, code is one representation of that differentiation. But how do you, is it documents? Is it in kind of tribal knowledge? Like where is the secret sauce stored, I guess?
Well, the secret sauce, initiates from the people, right? We are very fortunate to have the good people, both from operation side and the IT side. So the ideas, getting an idea is very important, right? Converting idea to action, that's where the platform will take us to.
Got it. Makes sense. So why don't we switch gears a bit into AI? So you've been through 2 AI winters so far, probably, right? I don't know, 3, 2, something like that. So you've seen all the iterations of it. I mean, this one is clearly different, right? And the acceleration is different as well. So what's possible today is dramatically different compared to 2 months ago.
That's true.
So I know you've been talking about agentic logistics a bit as a concept. Can you tell me a bit more what you mean by that? What's kind of your vision for agentic logistics?
Yeah, that's my favorite topic. So when we look at the overall supply chain and logistics operating model, so there are a lot of manually repeated transactions, right? When you see logistics, always very interesting because it's a completely operational model, right? So there is a very fixed way of doing it, but there are times you need to act based on exceptions, right? So having the people spending time on manual versus spending time on building the differentiation, that is where I always see that agents can replace that manual things, which doesn't add value to differentiation, and have the people spend time on the differentiation factors. So that actually gives the whole overall logistics more efficient. So just an example, when we see the data integrity, we get the data, even the sensors are not 100% accurate, right? So there are human beings, there are some back office functions, identifying the exceptions and resolving exceptions and all. Now with this current technology, agent can do that.
Right.
So if we implement the agents and enabling the AI tools for our employees to do better than what they used to do before, we can actually achieve our 5-year vision in 3 years.
Yeah. And that's kind of your overall concept of agentic.
Correct, I know we moved from visibility to predictive intelligence to the agentic logistics, and I want to see really autonomous logistics in future.
So how much autonomy do you think this is maybe hard to answer, but your perspective is interesting. How much autonomy do you think is possible with software alone? So without robots, right? Yeah.
I think in the previous the company, like we did have the auto-gated vehicles within the ports. You might have seen in Los Angeles, there's a lot of automated operations and all. When we think about autonomy logistics, even though there's a wish, it's not easy to achieve overnight.
Yeah.
Right? AI as a technology can help on solving what is the manual functions, improving the efficiencies.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would see the complete autonomous logistics in this decade.
And is it because it kind of spills over into the physical world? Is that the main reason?
There's a lot of constraints, right? We always passionate about the technology, but we don't see the other boundaries, other constraints.
What's an example?
Just an example, think about the port operations, right? Even though you want to implement technology, we cannot just implement the technology. There are so much of compliance rules, so there's so much of approvals are needed. So it takes time. Building technology may be faster than really getting all those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's exciting, and how far we can get is exciting. And
yes.
One thing you've kind of mentioned, but not directly, is the role of the agents. So there's many different ways to think about agents. There's many different attempts in the industry to have agents play the roles of people. And so in your description, it sounds like you're thinking about agents as being part of the team, but completing a certain type of tasks, which is more mundane, less differentiating. Is not a good use of time for the employees who know the business best. Is that kind of accurate? Or?
What I see, as our roles, today most of the CFO roles are most of managing systems, building the systems and all. But slowly the role is going to evolve into AI orchestration, right? Orchestrating the intelligence. So what I see an agent, right? The agents are going to enable employees more efficient. It's going to increase our efficiency, and we get excited to use it to improve our efficiency. In turn, it adds value to the bottom line.
Yeah, so it's about, whatever it can add efficiency, whether it's the creative part or the just execution part, either as long as it adds efficiency, it's good.
Exactly, because any company, when we see that and all, there's a technology. Technology is one thing, but ultimately, how does it add value to the company, right? How do we get, better EBITDA, right? How do we reduce the operational costs? How do we increase our products? Add value to our customers. How can we increase the value? How can we reduce the cost for our customers, right? At the end, that is very important, right? If the technology doesn't help in that one, it's no use, right? Because AI used to be like a experimental mode a few years back. Okay, at FlexiVan, it's no longer experimental; it's operational.
Right, it is, and you were probably either the only or one of the first ones in the space. From what I know. That's great. Well, so a couple more things. It would be great to cover a bit where you think we're going. We were just talking before we started this recording. We're just talking about user interfaces. It's not news to anyone that chats have been good. They've been good because of the LLM support behind it, the Agentic support behind it. But where is it going? Are UIs going to disappear completely? Will it always be there, but you'll be controlling it through an agent? And of course, neither of us knows for sure, but what do you think?
That's a very interesting thought process, because we kind of thinking that way and implemented even our portal, because today every customer portal might have a company, brands, colors, and we have to accustom to that particular portal navigation, right? But with the AI, I can have my own UI. It's just information. I can ask the agent to show me in the way I want it. Show me the colors I want it.
Yeah.
Show me the charts I want it. So it's a very interactive. So that's where in our AIM 360 is our core platform. We converted our AIM 360 as a dynamic UI customer experience. So it's no longer they click a button there and find the report and all, right? They can actually ask the questions and it builds a UI.
So it's a hybrid, right? There's the kind of the map there, and there's charts, and then there's also the natural language portion of it.
And they can also tell, maybe in future they can tell, I don't need this, I want charts this way, I want this way, right? Yeah. They can generate their own UI. I don't see, UI is a differentiator in future any longer, right? Because, every person can generate their own UI.
So would you then say that the UI actually becomes an agent combined with the ability to create elements, some of which are visual? Part of it can be text, right?
Yes.
But some of it could be interactive visual elements.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? Because ultimately, as long as you have a agent that can connect it to all the legacy systems, pull all the information that is needed to the customer, and now it's very easy to build the UI and the charts the way the customer wants it.
It makes total sense because chat is just a way to produce text.
Yep.
Right? I mean, now all the kind of the AI chats can produce images, can produce PDF files, Excel files. There's really no reason that Claude and the Claude chat can actually produce artifacts and kind of simple HTML, pages that you can review right there. So there's really no reason why the UI can't, or the user experience can't be interacting with an agent, but getting all the different types of user interfaces, right? And everything from charts to buttons to text to files.
That's correct, because one of the advantages is in a personalization, right? Typically, depends on the person logging into that one. The system already knows if a VP of operations logging into the system, they knows it gives the business executive summary.
Yeah.
If operational manager is logging from Chicago, it actually gives the information related to Chicago area they need to handle. Yeah. So that is where we are embedding in our AIM 360 platform, obviously utilizing the Shakudo as the backend. It's very exciting for the customers.
Yeah.
Because it actually prepping all the information as insights and provide to the customers to take action.
That's very, very cool and very exciting. And so, this is really just to get your perspective, but for our marketing team, we'd love to just get your perspective on working with Shakudo. What's kind of the main value you get out of this partnership? Where do you think Shakudo should be going in the future? Yeah.
The main thing I really love about Shakudo, Shakudo doesn't just provide the platform, right? I feel like it's really a partnership. Yeah. They're always there to help and execute our vision faster and the right way. So always there's a guidance, and it's like a co-team. Yeah. Like a team working together to achieve our goal faster. I'm very excited about the new product, Kazi. I'm very excited to actually implement and start using that right away.
Thank you for saying this, Sagar, both about the partnership and Kaji. I'll inject kind of my elevator pitch here. Shakudo has always been the operating system for tools, data and AI tools running on the customer's infrastructure. Historically, these tools have been used by people, engineers, data scientists, data engineers, even product owners using non-code, low-code tools. But now we have agents that can use the same tools. They've already consumed all the documentation across the hundreds of tools that are available and can just build. And so Kaji is that. Kaji is an end-to-end agent that runs on Shakudo, knows how to use all the tools, 250 or so different tools, and can build with your team. And I think the most exciting part of it for me is that it's collaborative with your team. because it lives either in your Microsoft Teams or in your Slack or email,
Yep.
and it knows the roles in your organization. It knows that Sagar is the CTO. It knows who's responsible for what in the company. And so as it gets perspectives from various people, it kind of knows how to construct a full picture and then execute.
Yep.
And so I'm excited to work on projects with you where Kaji helps us execute.
Me too.
Where do you think is kind of the AI infrastructure world going? Is it a year from now? Are we all just kind of sending prompts and not touching anything, or?
So this is very interesting, right? Because we cannot even predict what's going to come, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we don't know what we don't know that's coming up.
Yeah.
Because it's evolving so fast. 2 years back, we wouldn't have thought that we can have a Kazi that can do all the things, right?
Yeah.
So what is going to come in future, it's exciting. At the same time, it's alarming.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know how the world will change, right?
Exactly.
But I think, and I'm curious if you agree, I think, where AI and the ability of AI to complete human level tasks is kind of pushing the industry is the human members of the team, the employees, the value starts to concentrate around their knowledge of the business,
Yes.
of their kind of context, the organizational context, their understanding of the business strategy, things that are a mix of real hard data and just the fact that the business so far has been built by people.
Yeah.
And so someone has to steer the AI.
Exactly.
No one steers it. Every business will be exactly the same as the other business, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
No, that's very point. The roles are evolving.
Yeah.
Right? The roles are evolving. I see the future roles as always, as I told, will be orchestrating all the intelligence, right? Utilizing, the AI platform. So that's where I'm saying I see my role will be an AI orchestrator.
Yeah.
So it's very important. You touch the important point is about the business intelligence, right? Because ultimately building what differentiates us. So the employees focusing on that aspect and the agents helping them to do it faster and better.
Yeah. Sagar, to wrap up, first it's a huge pleasure to interview you like this, and working with you for the last couple of years. It's inspiring, and FlexiVan has been an amazing partner, so thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that's inspiring about talking to you is you mentioned that you like to teach.
Yes.
Right? And I don't know if it's public or not, but and that's kind of your stories around that were inspiring to me personally. So if you want to just add anything about that you kind of want to share publicly, I think that's a very interesting kind of aspect of Sagar that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
My parents are teachers, and since childhood I like teaching, right? Yeah. Whatever I learn, I try to teach others. Actually, I learn more by teaching.
Yeah.
Right? So I like to build, I like to give my knowledge and build the people in that area, especially AI. I'm very passionate about AI. So I talk a lot of people. Actually, every weekend I spend my time teaching even high school kids, telling about AI, teaching them and getting them ready for future citizens.
Yeah. That's great. I always love those stories that about your teaching and back in India and here as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much, Sagar.
Thank you.
You're very busy. I appreciate you carving out a bit of time out of your morning to
Thank you.
talk to us.
We are very excited to have you here, and looking forward for more and more outcomes from Kaji.
Yeah, and more collaboration between our teams.